I think you get as much fun out of this as I do with this whole subject. Just saying.
Of course I do. It's all this, you know what? There's so much pieces crap guys out there, just completely ridiculous. Les retards, as I call it in French, means late, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Definitely not mentally handicapped. What are you going to do but laugh, though? Like, I mean, seriously, everybody's like the decline of the West. What are the talking points? They've all blocked me now. Save the West. Global homos taken over.
Well,
Lizard
there's always
people.
yeah, lizard people. The QAnon thing is still kind of around, but I think it's morphing into a different name. I don't know what it is, and I don't care.
Yeah,
You,
well, that's what I mean. Then these guys, like, yeah, you bring them to a dinner party and they'll embarrass your entire family. You're like, oh, this ain't nothing, man.
right. Well, and the other one of my other favorites too that you didn't mention, and it falls into that same category is the retain your semen guys. You know, those guys.
Those fucking guys.
Well, dude, have you read Sperm Wars? Just out of curiosity, the book by
No, Rolo keeps telling me that and Alpha God, and I gotta read it. And
I don't know
I'm
about
like, I got a ton of shit to read. I still have to read Sanction and do a book report on it for my channel.
Jesus Christ. You are a glutton for punishment if you're going to read that and give a book report.
I'm gonna try. And you know what? I've realized it's like 500,000 words or whatever. But if you get rid of all the Nietzsche quotes, it's like maybe 120,000. So it's a pretty light read. I think we can handle it.
You got to have the thesaurus out, and I can't be bothered for that.
Yeah, forsooth, yon hither.
Yeah.
Alpha masculinity hither von hither. I shouldn't make fun of the dead, but, fuck them.
Well, this is self-inflicted death here, so really.
Yeah. Oh, what did Chesty? He's introduced me to a term, unforced errors. Have you heard about this? Unforced errors?
No.
I love it. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I am stealing that and running into the ground. Unforced errors. And I used to say self-sabotage, stepping on your own dick, but that's like the lawyerly way of saying it. Love that shit.
Okay. All right.
That's going to be my go-to. Look at this. Is it true you're going to... All right. Let's get this out of the way right now. Is it true you're going to pull a Pat Stedman with the Freedom Convoy? I'm going to explain something to you guys that you probably already know, because I know John's not... I know he's baiting me on this one. If you think that something is important enough that you want to go to a protest to fight against, if you think something's important enough that, there's going to be some consequences to it by people in power, and if you decide that it's worth all the risks involved, then keep your fucking mouth shut. Don't film the fucking thing. Do what you do. And if anybody asks, no, I stayed home and slept all day. And that's as far as you're going to take it.
That's right. You get an alibi.
Yeah.
You have the wife and the brand new baby say, no, he was home and in bed and we were trying to conceive our second child.
Yeah. Here's 5 of my social media posts that are geo-tracked to this location, and that's all you're going to get. Having said that, did you hear about this? The whole hullabaloo about the Canada Freedom Truck Convoy?
Well, I know there's a convoy of protests going on, and didn't Trudeau, your prime minister or whatever the fuck he is, president or whatever, didn't he all of a sudden, I have to quarantine or something like that because I might
this is constantly evolving. So it started in Vancouver. It was just a bunch of guys that were going to drive down to Ottawa because they didn't like the new mandates.
Okay.
Like, you can't go across the states unless you're double vaxxed. You can't come back from the states unless you're double vaxxed. Americans are pissed. Canadians are pissed. Most of the guys are already, I think it's like 85% of Canadian truckers are vaccinated anyway. They just don't like the idea of the prime minister, locking this shit down. So that was supposed to be just a simple thing. I think it was like a dozen trucks, something like that, or 20 trucks. And then it starts picking up steam, and then it hits Alberta. And once it hit Alberta, oh, fuck, Canadian Texas. So now it's up to, at last I heard, a 16-kilometer long thing of just rigs. Like, no trailers, just rigs.
Oh, Jesus.
And then CBC put out a story in BC about how they were protesting over road safety. And it was funny because it's like everybody knew, like, they knew we have TikTok. And we can watch the truckers talk about it directly. So then it started picking up steam, goes through the prairies. The prairies are all for the truckers. Hits Ontario, and then more truckers. Then all of a sudden, the day before it arrives in Ottawa, a whole bunch of people started seeing pickup trucks with Confederate flags, and a lot of like blue checks, PhDs, and reporters are like, "Oh my God, it's the racist group coming." Again, we've been watching these guys on TikTok for like 2 weeks get down here, so like, nice try. And then Trudeau said he was exposed to COVID and he had to take 5 days off of work. Sorry about that, guys, right before they get there. And then they changed the story yesterday to, well, it's my son was exposed to COVID, so I have to stay still. Which, that's funny enough. They're realizing it. So I don't know how it's going to play out now. But then here's the funny part. So the Conservative Party of Canada, guys run by like Jim Gaffigan, basically. And they kept asking him, because they're like, well, Trudeau hates it, and you want to beat Trudeau in the election, so you're for it, right? And he kept whiffling and waffling, and he wouldn't commit to meeting with the truckers. He's like, I met with their boss already. It's great. So now everybody's pissed at the Conservatives for being assholes, and they're pissed at the Liberals because, hey, I just want to be able to go outside and see my life for the next 3 years. PPC, that little renegade Conservative Party, they're in the convoy. They joined in some truckers and they're filming the whole thing. It's going great. And this is the newest part. So I guess Italy now has a truck convoy going through Italy. And my girl just showed me this morning, Germany has a convoy coming through. So this is like Black Lives Matter, except for without Democratic funding. It's kind of interesting to see how it plays out.
Well, I'm curious if Australia, did they put up a firewall like China did, and so nobody can see outside of Australia, if they're going to have a convoy here pretty quick?
Oh, yeah. Didn't they have one last year, too? Right around the supply. I can't remember what that one was about, though. That one wasn't about vaccine mandates, but I wouldn't be surprised because they're pretty pissed over there.
Well, they rightfully should be, as far as I'm concerned.
Like, yeah, they're charging through people. They were like throwing shit at cops. They were doing it like Venezuelans. But it's funny because it's Australians, so they're throwing Forster beers at each other, just like getting drunk and headbutting the cops' riot shields.
Throwing kangaroos.
Oh, and that's sweet. Look at this. Yes, Jack, the Dutch they're just great. The Dutch did it first. I'm sure they did.
There. Put the gold star. Let's hang it on the fridge.
Yeah. Actually, I shouldn't even be mad. Whatever. If they're doing it, I'm proud of it. If they're doing it first, I don't mind them taking the credit. It's not my fault that Canada decided to use drone footage.
That's okay.
Oh, dude, yeah, we got ISIS videos, like with drone footage and rock music. Twisted Sisters blasting on these convoys. It's hilarious. Take a guess which song. Take a guess. Oh, everybody knows which Twisted Sister song if you're going to play it.
It's the only one really that matters as far as Twisted Sister goes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The only music video that they did was so good, even Michael Jackson had to rip it off.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people forget about that one. You guys I bet you there's some like Zoomers in the chat now. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Twisted what? Michael who?
Yeah, who are
music video?
What? MTV? Isn't that the reality show TV, the reality channel or something like that?
Oh, dear God. Don't even get me started on that. That's why I canceled cable with stupid reality TV. First season of Survivor. I haven't had cable since that came out. How long ago was that?
God. Oh.
Yeah, that long. I'll look at it. Whatever. Anyways, I've been running my mouth. I want to hear from you.
Oh, it's okay that you run your mouth. I like to hear you run your mouth. Anyway, the fun thing is, for all the kids in the chat, why does Rob like to come on to Red Morning with Ryan and shit all over Mormonism? Is it because Rob hates Mormonism? No, I really don't. I don't care about the philosophy, the religion itself. I'm really indifferent. I don't care. I do it because there's so many dickheads on Twitter who think that the Mormons are red-pilled. And so I do this to shit on them. Is why I do this. Okay. And I do take like petty glee when I find out information, things that just further prove what I've always known forever since I was a little kid. Everyone goes, oh, the Mormons are red pilled. And it's like, no, they're not. They're a beta farm. Okay. And they are. That's what they do. And I found some new information, well, new to me, that further confirms that. So it was a few days ago. So it was like last Sunday, I think. And I was actually talking to my belly dancer. She was the one that told me this information that because she was a lot more steeped in the religion than I was. Mm-hmm. We were talking about people who get married in the temple, the LDS temple.
Right.
And because
is that like you have to get married in the temple, or is that just like
that's you aspire to it because it's kind of one of the higher ceremonies, and you're closer to God and closer to being a god. type of thing. And so you want to be married in the temple because when you are, you're sealed for time and eternity to your spouse and your children. Okay, so any future children, whatever the kids you currently have, all of that, you're sealed for time and eternity. So not only in this life, but in all lives.
Oh yeah, and then you get the planet and all that stuff. I
Right.
remember hearing because there's like a divorce process that sucks for Mormons because you got your normal divorce, but then you have to go and get like I don't know the Council of 12 or whatever. The Cylons have to like deplanetize your marriage or whatever.
Something, yeah. There's something to that too, and we'll talk about that in a minute here as well.
Hey, speaking of which, you got to answer this question. Inquiring minds need to know from this guy Nicholas August. Is it beta to cook for my girl?
No.
Yeah, it might be beta if I cook for your girl. If Rob cooks for your girl. It's definitely a death sentence if you cook for my girl. I don't know. Fucking guy. Look at that. Stops running Punch Riot for 1 month. He just starts talking nonsense. Nonsense.
It's because he's been retaining his semen for too long.
Well, those guys. Oh, we'll rant on those guys in a minute. I'm curious more. And we're dragging this thing out. The reveal. What's the reveal?
Right. Reveal.
Oh, you don't even want to know.
Yeah. No shit. Number 5 will surprise you. So she tells me we're talking about, people who get married in the temple. Okay. Mm-hmm. They go through the ceremony. So time and eternity now. Okay. And a standard divorce does not nullify the temple ceremony. Okay. So, the state will say, hey, you're good. You're separate. You guys don't like each other anymore. Whatever it is, go and fuck other people. Go do your thing. Where the church is like, no, you're still time and eternity. And I was saying to her, I was like, now imagine a woman decides, I don't, I'm not happy. And so she divorces the guy. The state says, fine, but the church doesn't. So in the afterlife, in theory, she gets to be with that asshole again. Okay.
Oh.
But hang on. No. She corrected me. She was like, no, that's not how that works.
She gets the planet in the divorce, doesn't she?
Well,
son of a damn woman.
Because not only like in the divorce, but let's say she turns around and marries someone else also in the temple.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Her second husband or third husband or whatever. But she marries again in the temple. She gets to choose. She gets to choose who she.
You mean to tell me that even in all this religious rigmarole, all the legal stuff, all the whatever, they're like, hey, you can have whichever one you want.
Yes.
Whatever helps well done, sir. Jesus. Yes. Where's Rolo's? Does Rolo have an article on this?
I have no
Mormon
idea.
chicks collecting planets like Pokemon and Paws.
Pretty
hockey
much.
Cards.
She gets to choose. Because free will, free agency. Okay? That even though you're supposedly time and eternity, no. The truth is, like, if you, like, let's say she dies, okay? Because I have an aunt that's exactly what happened. My aunt and my uncle were married in the temple. She died. He's still alive. He's got wife number 2 now. Okay. In theory, my aunt could choose either to have my uncle or not. Okay. Especially when wife number 2 shows up. She may not like wife number 2 because she had no say in wife number 2. Okay. Just like this is the one I was telling you backstage that fell into my lap. Wasn't even looking for this information, but this was fucking great. So there's a podcast I just found that I'm listening to, and it's all about cults. Okay, these 2 women who are cult survivors. They've both been in different cults, and so they bring on other people who have been in cults, and they talk about what it was like being in that particular cult. Well, this latest episode that I listened to, they brought on 2 women that are in the FLDS. the fundamental Latter-day Saints.
They got
These-
evangelical Mormons or
Yes.
LDS?
Fundamentals. These are the people that practice polygamy. Okay.
Oh, and is that the one where like the burnt skin of Jesus or whatever, like all that stuff, or just the polygamy?
This is the one
part?
with Warren Jeffs.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know who he is? Well, he's the prophet, and he's currently serving like a 20-year sentence in prison.
What did he do?
He was supposedly, well, and he was found guilty, so it's not even alleged, apparently, you know, if we want to get into legal terms.
Right.
He was doing basically, well, he was a pedophile.
Oh, yeah.
Like 12-year-old.
Had to really hedge on that, huh?
Yeah. He was basically, he married, he had as a couple of his wives, he had like a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old girl.
Oh, so we're not even talking like 17 and 9. No, we're talking like, we're talking like Chris Hansen would want to have a word.
Yes, Chris Hansen would definitely be like raising his hand on this one. Yeah. Okay. That's what he's in prison for. Okay. But it's funny because all of this ties into what we're talking about, you know, getting back to the Mormons are not red-pilled. He's the prophet. Okay. And right now in their little sect in the FLDS, there are no new marriages because the only one who can ordain them is the prophet. Okay. And since he's in prison and has no contact, they will not allow him to call. His communication with the outside is severely restricted. Okay. So there have been no new public, at least, weddings inside the FLDS. All right. Now, the fun thing is, even though he's the one that it's kind of an arranged marriage situation, at the same time, while he's talking to Heavenly Father and Heavenly Father said, you know, Ryan and Lisa need to be together. Lisa could turn around and go, prophet, I'm not feeling it. I prayed to Heavenly Father too. And Heavenly Father was like, if you don't feel it, you don't feel it.
Heavenly Father is in love with you, loves you, but is not in love with you.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Wando, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Women can out alpha even God in the universe. Correct. At least in the LDS. Because that's the thing. Like I said, when the prophet of a religion that can arrange and does arrange marriages between a man and a woman, and then either party, you know, to be fair, to be completely transparent, even the guy can say, yeah, I'm not feeling it. Okay. But usually it's the woman, and she can go to the prophet and go, yeah, I'm not feeling it. And he'll go, well, maybe Heavenly Father changed his mind. Yeah. And then it's, you can marry who you like versus, you know, what Heavenly Father said. I'm
just picturing Karen talking to the, what do you guys call the pastors, priests, bishop? Like, what's the church guy? Bishop.
Bishop.
Bishop's like talking to Karen, and she's like, I want to talk to your manager. Looks up. Big light thing. It's like, no, I'm filming. Just so you know, I'm filming.
Yep. Well, there's more. There's even more. Okay.
What?
Yeah. Well, you're going to just love it because, like I said, this is the gift that just keeps on giving. Okay.
Jesus. All right.
Like I said, it just fell into my lap. I wasn't looking for this to have more grist for the mill for today. It was just, oh shit, Ryan's going to love this stuff. So these two women that are still current members of the FLDS, okay, they wear the traditional garb. They're very modest. They even have their own little language, which I understand it because I kind of grew up around that. So I understand what the hell they're saying.
Right.
One of them had just one husband, according to her. Now, I don't know about that, but he drank, and there's going to be more. There's more coming, Ryan. There's more coming because we're going to talk about the drinking and all of that here in a second, too.
That's weird. I thought Mormons don't drink, but then again,
hang on.
I thought they got a planet, so what do I know?
Well, hang on. Like I said, but wait, there's more. Okay. So she was with her husband for like 20 some odd years. Okay. And they have 11 kids.
Jesus.
11. Okay.
Talk about beating that pussy.
Right. Okay. The dude was definitely getting some, and she was fertile as fuck. All right. 11 kids. But after 20 some odd years, according to her, he's been drinking too much and got abusive. And so In the middle of the night, she packs up 11 children and her belongings, calls her dad, calls her brothers. They come and whisk her and 11 fucking kids. I mean, they had to have a Greyhound bus or something to get everybody.
I was going to say, they got to have ninja training. Did Ivan Throne train them on this? How to wake up 11 kids without waking up dad?
Possibly. Well, dad might have
I can't get a sweater on the dog to take him outside to take a piss.
Hey,
without making a huge racket. What the hell?
You know, the dude may have been, you know, passed out drunk too. They may have been herd of elephants may have not roused him.
Well, let's hope so.
He packed up her kids, packed up, you know, all the shit and left. Okay. Because free will.
Right.
All right. So she left. And I don't know if there's, you know, an alpha chat or a beta bucks guy out there that's looking for 11 kids in an Insta family, but she was able to leave, and even the church itself granted her divorce decree.
Aw.
Okay? Yeah, without any say on his part. Now, here's the fun thing. When she brought up the drinking, I'm thinking, well, that's not very orthodox. But here's something I just learned yesterday, Ryan. I was 1 day old when I learned this. With the FLDS, the fundamentalists, these are the people that take the word of Joseph Smith literally.
Right.
Okay? There is nothing wrong with alcohol or caffeine. There's
Whoa.
Because that was something that was brought up in this podcast with these two women that are the hosts, and then these two other women that are the FLDS members. That, you know, because someone brought up caffeine and alcohol, and one of the FLDS women was like, that's a misunderstanding. That's mainstream Mormonism, that they came up with that at a later date. But the fundamentalists don't have a problem. They're like, it's in moderation, you know, don't lose control with it. But if, you know, the one that was still married was like, oh, me and my husband, we have spirits all the time, and we even make our own wine.
Huh.
And
well, now, see, I got to ask. I don't know if you even know this one, but that's the only thing I remember between, like, my Bill Maher training in Mormonism, which is obviously horrible, but there was the magic underwear thing, which, whatever.
Yep.
Chastity belt, I get it.
Yeah.
But then there was, like, wasn't there black dudes weren't allowed to be Mormon because they were, like, they were the Lucifer?
They weren't allowed to be in the priesthood.
That's the one, yeah, because they got the burnt skin, which is like Lucifer brought down from whatever.
Yeah, that I can't remember the actual term, because there was the Gentiles and something else. They were one of them, and so basically they were less than, is what it basically came down to.
But what I'm wondering is if the fundamentals hold on to that shit and they get like full on racist, or is it like no, that's the mainstream guys. We're cool with that, because that would make the divorce and I'm not happy thing make so much more sense.
Yeah.
Due to my Pornhub research, it seems to be a popular theme. And I won't go into more detail than that. You guys can figure out what I'm talking about.
And the funny thing is, because these two women, the community they live in, a couple of years ago, right after Warren Jeffs got arrested and got convicted, there was here's something I didn't know. Okay, so you got these big, huge families, sometimes plural marriage, you know, polygamy. You got, you know, 4 or 5 wives, and you got 35 kids amongst them all. They all live under the same roof, and they got these big fucking mansion houses because they need 30 bedrooms to hold everybody.
Right.
I'm wondering.
I've watched the Waltons. I get it.
But I'm wondering, you know, as the outsider of this particular type of community, like, how the fuck are they able to afford, you know, the land, the house, all that? Because it's one guy that's doing all the work. You know, he's whatever he is. He's like a contractor or something, you know, a general contractor. I found out how that works.
Okay.
These different communities, I'm thinking of what's the name of the one? It's like Sunnydale or Sunvale or something. Like
Sunnydale, I don't know if that's the community you're thinking of.
Well, all I know is
this fucking trailer park boys.
Well, it kind of is, okay? But the funny thing is, at one point in the past, kind of like the Indian reservations here in the United States, it was considered religious tract. It was religious ground. Okay. And the Mormons had control of it, especially the fundamentalists. They had control of it. There was a trust with the state. Okay. So basically it's tax-free ground. They never had to pay property tax or anything like that.
Interesting.
But then they would have to build their house on it, type of thing, which makes a lot more sense from an economic perspective of, oh, okay, now I can see how they could afford to have this house because
And the libertarian in me is kind of like, that's not a bad idea.
well, but it gets better.
Yeah, but
But okay, here a few years back though, the state oversees this land. Okay, there's a committee that's been appointed that looks over everything and makes sure everything is as it should be. Well, the majority, and now all of them, are FLDS people. Okay, they're non-Mormon, or they're ex-members with an axe to grind, and so they're revoking a lot of the rights on that property, and basically the people are being evicted. They're getting kicked out of the homes they grew up in for generations in some cases. They're losing their houses, and the state had gone down and was forcing them out. The police were going down and saying, you got 10 minutes, whatever you can carry out is yours, but everything else either stays but you got to go. Okay, this was right after Warren Jeffs got convicted.
Right.
Okay. So now you have these families that are having to do like the regular commoner, where you got to go out and buy a house and you're paying property tax. And if you have those large families, you're buying 2-3 houses because you can't afford to build one on a piece of ground anymore, because they're finding out the hard way how everyone else, you, me, the unwashed masses live. And
that sucks. And that's when now the girls are starting to fall out of love more often now that they're like, oh.
Well, there's that. And it's funny, though, because, again, matriarchy, not patriarchy. So while these raids, if you will, while these evictions are happening, men with guns coming in saying, you got to go. Where's all the men? The men are in hiding somewhere. Nobody knows where the guys are, because it's not the men meeting them at the door. It's the wives meeting them at the door. It's the wives who are filming it to keep them straight and keep them, they're the ones.
Is this on TikTok? I could do an hour just laughing at these.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on TikTok or not. I couldn't tell you. But I know that initially they called it the God Squad, which was kind of like, these guys in SUVs, you're down in their property, they're following you around to see what you're up to. No, the guys have all but disappeared. It's the women now, and even one of these women called it the Mom Squad. So it's Karen,
Mom Squad, because God Squad's some video game thing,
right? But it's just funny that, for all the guys that, the Mormons are red-pilled, it's like, really? It's the women who are policing and enforcing the boundaries, if you will, the physical boundaries in some cases. It's the women who get to ultimately choose if they want to stay married. It's the women who get to choose if they want to be with you in the afterlife. So even though, time and eternity, no, that was something that was sold to the guys. Because we're logical and we don't think too deep into things too often. And so somebody came along and said, hey, how can we sell something that the guys will get behind? Well, let's offer them multiple wives for one. Except the first wife gets to choose who he sleeps with. I've talked about that.
Couldn't even give him that.
Yep.
You can have multiple wives, but she gets to choose.
Yep.
Jesus.
She even has a say in who you marry. Okay.
Oh.
So if she's like, nope, well, I guess you ain't marrying that one then.
So this is like the UN, but then they gave America and Russia the veto authority. Of course nothing's getting done.
Right. Okay, but this is the lie that men were sold. On the surface, it's, hey, we have this religion, you can have multiple wives. Hey, not only can you have multiple wives, but if you get married in the temple, you get to keep all of them forever. Because we're possessive like that.
See, that's better than the Islam, because they're promising it after. You guys like deliver up front at least. Enjoy the wives now. They're like, well, once you die, you can have them. They're like, come on.
Yeah,
why are you making me wait?
There is that, but then there's these caveats that once you get into it, because you're like, multiple wives, sign me up. And with Islam, I heard it's like you can have 4 or something like that. I mean, you can get divorced or whatever and kind of cycle through them, but I think you can only have 4 at a time, not with the FLDS. You can have as many as you like. Okay, so you want one for each day of the week type of thing. Hey, you can do that, except first wife gets the final say. First wife
Oh.
decides who you sleep with at night. Okay. And you don't, it's not a harem. It's not like, oh, we're, I got all 7 of my wives in one bedroom. No, that's not how this works. And so, you think, oh, they're red pilled. It's like, no, they're a matriarchy and they always have been. And I see it all the time when I see dudes, when I go out to the bar occasionally and I see some guy that's probably in his early 30s, mid 30s, walks in and he looks like he just got hit by a truck and he's got the deer in the headlight look. And I go up and I'm like, what's up, dude? And he's like, I've never been in a bar before. And I'm like, let me guess, you're LDS, aren't you? Yeah. Let me guess, you just got divorced, didn't you? Or you just found out your wife was fucking around or something. Yeah.
Or I'll get you a club soda. Let's talk.
Actually, this is the guy that will frat boy drink. He's now questioning his faith, and no, he'll start pounding whatever you put in front of him. Okay.
Oh, well, here, that's my lead-in question now. So this leads me to, if you guys haven't seen this, Alpha Male Con. You guys heard about this?
No.
You've heard about, here, I'll pull up the link.
Con.
Alpha Male Con.
Oh my God. Is this like, are we going to, is this someone trying to make a run on 21 or something? What the hell?
It might as well be. Here, I'm going to send you guys a link. I put it up on screen, but I don't want to fiddle around with that. I'll put it in the private too, so you can click it.
Yeah, I got to see this.
And this is just a Reddit one. Reddit loves to point at shit and laugh, but I saw somebody posted this right around the time that Jack Murphy was doing his shit and Roman McClay was stabbing and shooting people. And I was like, AlphaCon, is this like a satirical joke? And that's what I first thought, is somebody poking fun at the whole thing. And I'm like, this is brilliant. But then I looked and I see the address is at Main Street, Salt Lake City. I'm like, did Tanner turn everybody into like Mormon alpha males?
No.
And I'm wondering though, so these Lost Boys, if this is their like way to figure it out, because if you guys click the thing, yeah, it looks like a meme, doesn't it? Like
it
here,
totally looks like a meme.
For those who are just listening to this and not watching, it says AlphaCon 2022, and it's got a bunch of Illuminati things on it. Be great or be nothing. And the guy in the middle is called the Bull, which funny for a whole other reason. He's doing the standard thing that you do when you cross your arms and you tuck your fingers underneath to make your biceps puff out.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy up top. You have to do the standard thing where you turn your face to the side so everybody can see your, type 2 alpha jawline.
Oh, and he has basically kind of a man bun going on too.
Yeah, then there's the man bun thing, which, I mean, I can't poke too much fun in it because I'll probably be there in like 6 months myself. And then the slicked back undercut, gotta wear a suit. And there's the one guy down below, Nick Santonastaso. What the fuck
he's got the
he's screaming like, yeah!
He's got the what's that Tony Robbins? He's got the Tony Robbins look going on.
That's the one. Yeah, Tony Robbins Frankenstein. And
yep.
I bet you I'm surprised one of these guys isn't chopping wood in the fucking photo.
Oh, dude, that would be, if there was going to be any guy, that would be the dude that's kind of the other big dude, the Keaton Hoskins dude, whatever, except he's smiling way too much.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I was wondering then, because you're telling me like these guys getting divorced, their wives are picking their dudes, they're too drunk, I'm out of here.
In here. I didn't realize that. Kiefer Sutherland's in here.
Where is he? Oh, Keith Yackey there. Yeah, he's like Kiefer Sutherland after a 2-4. Jesus. Yeah. Couple little wets. This season of 24 is only going to be 5 episodes, just so you know.
Hey, the president is in there too, far upper left.
Oh, look at that. Well, that's rather clever. Good for him. It's good to see landing on his feet. But that's what I was wondering. So you get these guys and like the Lost Boys, I think it's the one thing a little man did was pretty good. Like, the way you want to believe in the world, it turns out to be bullshit. Nothing's working out for you. And then, so I was hoping, I guess you don't know anything about this, but my thought was, are these guys doing testicular cancer? And obviously I'm biased because we got the red pill thing. So we're like, yeah, they're idiots. We're alphas. Fuck you.
They're totally doing testicular cancer meetings. Absolutely.
But that's what I'm wondering. Does anybody not know in the chat what that means? By the way, we can explain it, but I don't want to just talk about Fight Club because that's a little bit too on the nose for a fucking red pill podcast.
No shit. But
it's kind of worrisome though. Like,
well, the thing that this whole thing that I've taken away from the red pill that you introduced me to a degree. Well, you definitely popped
sorry about that, by the way.
No, you popped a bubble for me, and I'm glad for that. You did that a while back with the whole Gillette thing. That popped.
Oh yeah.
Me. Okay. That was like, oh my God, he's fucking right. Fuck all this shit. And that's why I'm kind of the way I am now. The thing that I think a lot of guys miss the point, and you've said it to one degree, Chest has said it, Wine More Please has said it, Rolo to a lesser degree has said it. I mean, everybody that's been in here has said it. And that is, you got to stop looking for someone to tell you what to do, and you have to fucking figure out what you want. You have to figure out your own life. And so going to another alpha male conference type of thing, dude, that is missing the point. It really is, because that's just you, the lost boy, looking for a whole group of shepherds at this point.
Which is weird. Like, and that's the thing. I would get it. First off, get rid of the alpha male con. Just call it something normal. You don't have to have, what's the Donnie's one? I don't mean to shit on Donnie, but fuck it. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or whatever.
Oh God, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something. Oh, Convention of Masculine Excellence. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm gonna jerk you off the conference. You're fucking awesome just the way you are. It's health at any size, but for men.
Yes.
Yeah, you're alpha. Trust me, dude. Yep. Millionaire Playboy con. It's not. You can't just have a clubhouse. It can't be. It has to be the He-Man Woman Haters Club or the fucking War Room.
Oh God, no shit. The Yacht Club and a Lambo all rolled into one. Exactly.
Yeah, which sucks because like they used to have gentlemen's clubs in Britain and in Canada they had them, and it made sense. You guys just get together in common purpose. You know, guys talking business. Lloyd's Coffee House, and it's so weird how like it's been perverted to that sense, and now it's like it's at the point that fedoras used to be a cool hat. And now nobody can wear one because that fucking neckbeard ruined it for everybody, you know?
Exactly.
So the new fedora, guys, is masculine conventions. I say this knowing full well I went to Florida not once, but twice. But then I quit because it got really, really weird. Speaking of which, hey, is George Bruno might be in the chat. Do you know this?
I did not know that.
I didn't either. We were doing a live stream, and then all of a sudden George Bruno, and I figured, and somebody was like, you know, pretending to be Rolo, and that's, we thought it was just, I'll pretend to be George Bruno. He's like, no, it's the real one. I'm flabbergasted. I am absolutely flabbergasted. Like, I don't know how to process this.
Wow, we have an actual celebrity in the chat.
Yeah. Where's my chopstick? I got to stir this coffee.
That's right. No shit.
But that happened right after the lawsuit. That's the new, and that's the other thing, man. Like, these things don't work. I find, and it's not just because of like the whole Anthony thing, but like the centralized male power thing
doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It just takes one guy in there who's like a selfish asshole. And if you're in a space full of tards, of course there's going to be one.
Mm-hmm.
All you need a guy is just too stupid to know any better. You'll just ruin it for everybody.
Yep. Well, you could tie that back. Not wrong. Sam Whiskey for $4.99 LDS or LSD. It's yes. There's your answer. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But tying it back to religion, okay, it's always been that when you look at, you know, churches run on tithing. They run on donations, all that kind of stuff. And here, at least,
subscribe to my Patreon. I get it.
Right. And here in the United States, you know, we have tax exemption. I don't know how it is in Canada or other parts of the world, but here, if you are a religious organization, you can file for tax exempt status. Okay, so now the IRS basically can't even touch you, which is why a lot of these grifter types do go that direction. Or, you know, you get some of the big mega churches like, what was his name? One of the evangelicals back in the day, back in like.
Oh, is that the Tammy Faye Baker guy?
That one. Okay.
I just remember her because the fucking mascara.
Yeah, but multi-millions. Okay, tax-free. Okay, that's even the LDS. It's not about religion. It's big business. They're a multi-billion-dollar industry. All right. You find these actual members that have been living on on religious ground, and that gets revoked because the one true God, the state, finally steps up and goes, yeah, we're taking away that status. And they're out on their ass, and now they're having to adjust to real life like the rest of us. All right. The pews have always been filled more by women than by men because guys typically
need forgiveness.
Well, yeah, begging forgiveness, but guys typically don't like to be told what to do. And when you get these alpha con types going in there, because I know if I went, they'd be talking and I would just be like, dude, shut up. You know, I don't want to hear your horse shit, which is why I don't even bother with these things, because it's like, man, getting me to just come on to shows sometimes can be an act of Congress. And it's and I can only imagine, you know, guys that just want to line up and follow. It's like, dude, you're not red pilled. Sorry, you're not. If you think going to an alpha male convention is how you become alpha male, you missed the point.
Yeah, well, they're like chick talks. It's entertainment. You can't, if you take it seriously, yeah, you're right. You're missing the point.
Exactly. Wasn't there a gray alpha or some such con?
That's what I'm wondering. I just remember.
Oh, you know what? There
was?
There was. Yes.
Ooh.
It's funny that she brought that up, but that's actually there was, because it was shit. Fuck.
Wait, I remember this now. It was like somebody sent it to me. It was basically a collection of all the guys who've shit on Rolo, and they all got together to have their own little anti-Rolo convention. That was our little joke name for it.
Yeah, exactly.
The hell was it? Did anybody go?
Name. It had a weird name too. Like it reminded me of Scientology, because it was like the Z-Con or something, was spelled like XI or something. It was a weird name.
Yeah, and I remember this too, because they snuck Ed Lattimore in there, and I'm like, Ed's a nice guy. If you ask him, he'll show up to anything. So I get that, and he'll do his best. So like, no shade at him, and that was like the same group of guys that were big on the what the fuck, the murder book again. Why can I never remember the name? Sanction, yeah. And they were the ones talking about how Sanction was the greatest book ever. And then they had to like wipe all record of ever knowing the guy as soon as the murders happened.
Right.
And we were watching them delete videos in full time while people are downloading them. It's like, no. Internet's not forgetting this shit. And I'm like, guys, Wayback Machine. You can see all this stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember the name of that convention now. But yeah, that was a real thing. And the other thing is, not only did they have all the anti-Rolo dudes, I guess, but there was dudes like my age, basically, the boomers, the Gen X dudes that don't matter, because, everything's Generation Z and the late millennials now. But there was a bunch of that. And there was even a couple of women speakers too. I remember that, because I want to say it was a woman who was one of the organizers or something to do with the convention. Like, she was dealing with the logistics and whatnot. And so it was a men's convention being run by a woman. It was great.
That's got some MRA vibes. Girl writes what? Totally. I mean, I shouldn't even throw shade at her, because I like her, but yeah.
It was totally MRA vibes from what I got out of it, because there was like 2 women speakers, and one of them was like the one doing the logistics. It was great.
It's just this weird, I get it, like the girls have this need to be a control freak on everything. I guess that's how they stave off anxiety. But I think everybody who's had like a girl who's like when girls are young, they don't give a fuck. When they're older, guys get older, we start worry that we're not like, oh, I'm going to hurt my back and that's bad. I'm getting older. When girls get older, they get like, what's the word? Neurotic. Yeah. And what do you bring to the table? Not one guy has ever answered, I'm a stable force for your crazy insanity. How about that? How about I'm going to keep you from drinking wine and eating cat litter the rest of your life? How about that?
I've actually said to women, I am the eye of your storm. Just for fucking around with them. They're like, what do you bring to the table? I am the calm center, and I am the eye of your storm. That's what I am.
Wait, there's girls that have literally asked that?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I have never seen anybody in real life, man or woman, talk about what you bring to the table. I always thought that was like the internet filter free. Like, I thought that was inner thoughts.
It's only
to hear it openly.
Once. It's only happened once, but I've actually had a woman literally say, so what do you bring to the table? And I, which I was like, yeah, well, whatever. But I was just like, that's what I said, I am.
Dude, your answer's fucking magnificent.
And I am the eye of your storm. And
I'm surprised you didn't get blown right then and there at Appy's.
No shit. She even
here, meet me at the bathroom in this Applebee's. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
That's right.
What is this irreverence? We're supposed to be talking about being better men, and you guys are just laughing and getting blown in an Applebee's. It's like, well, come on.
Better man? Come on. That's what it is to me.
Dude, do you know in the comments in all my YouTube videos, every time we do one of these shit chucking ones, there's always like a handful of guys who are like, we need unity. We shouldn't be picking at each other. Take this seriously. Or anytime somebody does some dumb shit, this is going to ruin our reputation. And I'm just wondering, are people like you in the audience, are you guys clueless about like the manosphere completely? Like, a reputation? It's not good. It's not good.
Never.
And arguably well earned.
Yeah. No shit. No
Like,
shit.
yeah, just to get here. And I'm saying this knowing full well that I'm here too. Just to get here, something has to go really wrong in life. You have to be missing social skills. I keep thinking back to your story about the dude in the gas mask, Rob. I don't remember if we've told that live or not. In fact, you should tell it now. It's great. Yeah, actually, yeah. Can we tell the gas mask story?
Oh, why not? So
All right.
we had a get together here about a year ago in Salt Lake, and one of the guys that showed up came into the restaurant, public restaurant. There's children, there's adults, there's everybody. Came in wearing a riot helmet and a gas mask.
This isn't during COVID, by the way, guys. This is like before all this shit.
No, this was in 2020.
Oh, it was
COVID. Yeah, this
was
was
my mistake
COVID.
then.
Yeah, this was during COVID. But he came in and he had his Bluetooth speaker on and he was blasting the Imperial March from Star Wars.
Jesus.
And the first thing I said when I saw him is I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Because it's like, dude, you want to do that out in the parking lot or, come over to my house and do that. We're going to have a little dress up party or something cool, whatever, man. But this is a public place where there's children and the moms are, the kids are like, Mommy, I'm scared. It's freaking the kids out. And I'm just like, are you kidding me, dude? Oh.
I can imagine too if that was like a regular place that like the wait staff know your names. Like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Well, see that there's more to that story. Okay, so that was the first time we met over that weekend. That I didn't see it coming. He just came in doing it. But then a couple days later, we met back up again, and this time I was taking them to my restaurant. Everybody knows me at this restaurant.
Nice.
And I told him beforehand, I said, don't be pulling that shit. These are my people and I'm not having it. So we get there ahead of this group of people. And so we get all set up, we got the table set up. I'm, talking to the staff for a second. We're all sitting down, eating some chips and salsa, waiting for the rest of everyone to arrive. And then they show up. I can see them through the big glass window. There they are. There's the car. And, the majority of the guys get out and they just start walking in. And then there he is putting on the gear. And I was like, oh, hell no. And so I got up and walked outside as he's starting to walk around the car. And I'm like, take that shit off.
Dude, that's like the alpha male con advice. You just saved him $2,000 in convention fees right there.
Yeah, because I'm like, take that shit off, dude. You ain't wearing that shit inside here. This is my restaurant. I gotta live with these people. No, you ain't doing that. Which
man,
he took it all off, and at that point, came in and he was well behaved and respectable and all of that, But he was starting to throw the gear back on.
But yeah, see, that's why I like this story too, because it's like it's got a good ending. Like he's not a bad person.
No,
he's not.
He's just a little miscalibrated. That's all.
Miscalibrated, and all it took was like an older brother to be like, dude, that ain't on. That's not that. Yeah, no. We're not doing that.
It off. Yep.
Takes it off, acts like a normal person. Right there, it's kind of the point of this space, isn't it? And here's a question. Which one of us, does Bruno call you Ricky or does he call me Ricky? He calls me Scott, I thought.
I have no idea. No idea.
All right. Well, here, Adriano, best I know, he used to call me Scott because back when they kept trying to dox Rolo, I actually have some information security background, so I know how to protect my identity. And so what I had done is like little things, leave little, what you call poisoning the well. So I put one name here, attach it to a piece of information, an email address, a phone number. So when somebody looks it up, they're going to get a mixture of like my real stuff and then fake stuff. So you never know which one is real. So what I had done for I think this one was my Google Plus account. And they like, I need a name. I put Scott Weiland.
Back when that existed, yeah.
Yeah, so Scott Weiland, who was the lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots, which was like my old Reddit username. And so he thought he had me, so he keeps calling me Scott as like a threat. And I just started laughing, so it confused me for the longest time because I had forgotten all about it. But yeah, that was like the big running joke now that about Scott. The Ricky, if I had to guess though, I don't know who he's calling Ricky, but that's got to be a Trailer Park Boys reference. And then Sancho Bohemian, $5. Them probably new to the sphere. I'm here because of divorce, but I was done with my rage when I discovered Rolo and everybody else. I think a lot of marketers actively ignore the idea of the whole point of anger, by the way. They're using it as a marketing technique, and I don't like it.
I don't either. It's predatory is what it is.
That's actually a good way of putting it.
Well, there's been a bunch of guys in more recent times that it reminds me, and you may remember this, Ryan, and this actually affected me personally back here about 20 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting into proto-internet. The internet wasn't really a thing yet. And so all of your advertising was still done print media and also television, infomercial. Okay.
Speaking by clacking rocks together in rhythms.
Yeah, pretty much. We're going back to smoke signal days here. So back in the day, there would always be, you know, the late night infomercials. And one of the ones I remember, because it did, you know, it affected me, was these like hair club for men, for guys who were losing their hair. Okay. Because I was losing my hair. All right. And so you already feel kind of insecure about it anyway, especially when a woman makes a comment on it and says something like, you know, you mention your age and she goes, oh, I thought you were older. And why would you think that? Well, because of your receding hair. Okay. That was a comment made to me a long time ago, and it stuck with me for years. And that's part of where I became very self-conscious about losing my hair. And so I never did, you know, like the toupees or any of that, or the comb overs. I didn't.
Because you're not from the 1970s.
Right. Okay. But I just kind of, you know, sucked it up and lived with it until I couldn't stand it. And then in 2000 is when I shaved my head.
Okay.
And that insecurity went away for me immediately because, well, of course she's looking at my bald head. You know, what else is she going to be looking at unless she's looking down at my pants? Okay, so that went away. And hey, you know, there are women that actually like bald men. So, hey, what do you know? I attract a different audience now than when I used to have long hair. Okay. But those commercials were predatory because if you already have this fear, you have this insecurity, they're playing on that. They're giving you the feel good side of it of, oh, you know, look at this guy. He's got a full head of hair and he's got some hot, sexy woman playing in his hair. And she's in, you know, they're in a pool and she's in a bikini and you can be sexy. But, you know, they show the before picture where he's losing his hair and no woman will talk to him. And they just prey upon your fears and insecurities. It's kind of like the whole, the stuff for like Spanish Fly back in the day and, you know, get a bigger dick type of thing. I mean, maybe there's
Diners Club. Remember those cards?
Yes.
Who loves you, baby?
Yeah. Okay.
People are like, what the fuck is he talking about? It's the 70s thing. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't understand. But we just have the same fear tactics, the same predatory shit. Because guys, just like anyone else, like women, we all have insecurities and self-doubts, especially when you're younger. You have all of those fears and insecurities, and you hope nobody sees it. And then some marketer comes along and either points out your insecurity. You know, he's not looking at you specifically, but it looks like he's looking at you. And he points out your insecurity because you're touching your dick way too much. Okay. Or whatever it is.
I love the furrow. That sells it hard.
You know, you're touching your dick way too much.
Uncle Sam needs you to lay off the dick touching.
Right. Okay. So you already had shame and guilt over masturbation because religion told you it was bad and you're going to hell and you're going to go blind and you're going to go mad unless you eat a bunch of cornflakes, you know, like Kellogg was selling, because you can't touch your dick. All right. And then, you know, now we have the new bro science guys. Well, you know, you got to retain your semen because that's your testosterone. And yet I'm reading Sperm Wars and I'm like, yeah, do you want to be at a disadvantage from a biological level? Well, yeah, retain your semen. You're never going to have kids if
that's why you were asking about that.
Yes.
Because all I knew is about the healthy prostate shit that they say you got to make sure.
Too. Yeah, there's that too. There was a guy, and I don't know if I told this story here on your show or if I told it elsewhere. There was a guy I used to work with when I was in college, okay? And he was an older guy. He was probably about my age back then, all right? Well, he had to take off like a month of work. And when he finally came back, I remember asking him, you know, hey, what happened? He's like, oh, I had to recover from surgery. And I'm like, oh, well, is everything okay now? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, do you mind telling me what the surgery was for? As I'm thinking cancer, I'm thinking all kinds of shit. Guy had a triple bypass or something. I don't know. No, he had prostate surgery because he had an enlarged, inflamed prostate. And he's a very devout LDS man. So, sex outside of marriage is no, masturbation is no, all of that. But he's also older and he's a typical dead bedroom guy, hasn't had sex in quite some time.
Jesus.
Well, he goes to the doctor for a physical and finds out you have a problem and it's your prostate. Okay. And if you don't take care of it, it can go cancerous. We need to be a little preemptive here. Well, he asks the doctor, is there any way that I could have possibly prevented this? And the doctor's like, oh, yeah. Well, how? He's like, frequent sex or masturbation.
Those little swimmers, man, they're fucking up your life one way or the other. I'm going to knock that up. You won't let me? All right, I'll knock you up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
Okay? And that's something I learned, fucking 30 years ago almost. That it's like, and I even looked into that to find out, is this doctor telling the truth? Is this bullshit? And no, it's a thing. And yet all these, retain your semen guys, it's like, okay, so you're just setting yourselves and some of your dumbass followers up for future prostate cancer is what you're doing.
Jesus
and then
Christ.
When I read Sperm Wars, which I didn't know about this, that, they were talking, the author was talking about what he calls shedding sperm. Okay. Masturbation. He's looking at it from the evolutionary, the biological side of it, not the moral side. But what it is we have, according to him, which surprised me, but why not? It may be true. You have different types of sperm, basically. You have the egg getters, the ones that try to fertilize eggs. You have sperm that are called killers, that they kill other men's sperm.
So it's alpha male sperm you're talking about here.
Kinda, yeah. You also have sperm that are called blockers. Okay, so it's like football in a way, and it is warfare that goes on inside a woman's vagina. It's especially where women, monogamy is kind of the way to do it with a side of infidelity. All right, and that's been going on since we started walking around.
Oh, you're talking about like the head scooper and all that stuff now.
Yes. Yeah. We're getting into that with why your dick is shaped the way it is. Okay. But it's the idea that when you have fresh sperm, new sperm, which when you ejaculate, whether you're jerking off or you blow a load inside or whatever, the next lineup, so to speak, are fresh new sperm, which are your egg fertilizers and your killers. Okay. So guys that are shedding sperm are basically gearing up for war is what it comes down to from a biological perspective. Okay.
You remember like in all the action movies of the 80s, where's that one scene where the guy has to like gear up and it's like the zoom in shot of him like lacing the boots and adding the knife.
It. Yep,
I'm just picturing like your dick doing that. Not yours, but like a dick.
Yeah, well, but that's okay. Where if you're retaining your semen, okay, and so you consider it like rounds in a magazine, okay, you got a bullet that's close to the front towards the muzzle that's going to be chambered next. That is the old semen or the older semen. And then back at your testicles, back at the bottom of the magazine is the fresh round type of thing. Okay. That older sperm is what becomes the blockers. Okay. Well, if there's already other sperm inside her swimming around doing their thing, the blockers are going to stop any new sperm from getting in, or that's the goal.
Right.
But they're slow and they're sluggish and they don't have the killing power. They're not going to be the egg fertilizers. So,
they're just there to stall.
Yeah. So who do you think's going to win that competition if there's more than one man's sperm inside a woman?
That makes sense then. So when we were deployed, we got back. A lot of guys went to their wives. They used to joke around how like, hey, this first one's for me, babe. I'll get you next time. That makes sense from like a biological perspective now.
Right. Okay.
Right? And here, before I lose it, I got to give JD his kudos here. His local priest, pint in one hand, cigarette in the other, betting on the horses. Fire and brimstone Protestant. Nice. Actually, I can buy that. And then let me get caught up here. Sancho's on your team shaved head here. He did it last year. Women loved it. Love to rub it. I told them only if they can rub it in bed. I let it grow out again, but it was a great experience. Well, that's kind of cool. Last time I did it was basic, and it was a bad experience, but I don't think that was the hair's fault. String brought to you by the angel Moron?
No, Moroni.
Oh, Moroni. What's a Moroni?
Moroni is the angel who brought the gold plates down from heaven to Joseph Smith.
Ooh,
this is
the theological grifter.
Yep.
Yeah, I brought these tablets. I lost them though. I can't find them, but I remember them.
No, they're not lost. God took them back.
Oh, well, that's kind of. Oh, I can't use that term. That's racist if I refer to it as that.
They'll be revealed at a later date. You know, when end times come and Jesus shows back up, the plates will be revealed, and there's a whole section that was still sealed. It will only be revealed by the final prophet. Okay.
Dude,
so
I think Battlestar Galactica, the old TV show, stole a lot of this. I'm watching it lately.
Did.
You're talking about like the final 5 and shit.
Yep. Dude,
and here, Sam gets it though. Telly Savalas got more girls than Roger Moore. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, he did. He actually did.
Oh, good for him. Well done. Yeah, that's weird. So yeah, that's sperm. But I get it. Like from a marketing standpoint, the more I learn about it, the more all this stuff kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I get why you do marketing. Because like we don't need anything. Everything we could want in life is taken care of. Food, water, shelter, sex, whatever.
So you have to create the desire in order to sell your shit.
Yeah, but that's the problem because it used to be you sell them on like, this is good for you because, and you'd make the case for it and you deal with the frontal lobe, right? That doesn't really work now because everything's a commodity. I could sell you, I always use soybeans as my example because it's just so perfect, but like I could sell you these soybeans. They taste delicious. They're great at this. They're great at that. And you're like, it's like 10 cents a bucket load. I don't care. So you have to sell them on like the fear because that gets the limbic brain going. And the limbic brain tells the frontal lobe to shut up.
These soybeans will make you an alpha male. You'll all the women and you'll inherit a Lambo and all this other shit. But you got to buy my soybeans. And instead of 10 cents a bucket, as you put it, they're $10 a piece.
Yeah. Or $10 a plate with some soy sauce and salt on it. And you're like, Jesus, that's sounds great. I would love to not be anxious about getting a woman or getting I guess that's the whole, it all boils down to getting laid. Even the guys who want money, the only reason they want it is to either get laid or to keep guys away from the women they want to lay.
Oh, you brought up a good point there too with that.
I doubt it, but sure.
No, you made me think of something because you're talking about mate guarding, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's one of the things too that, tying it back to the manosphere or whatever we want to call this fucking joke that we're in. Okay. You can either be the guy, going back to sperm wars in a case, you can either be the guy who's constantly mate guarding what you got and getting jealous. That's why the emotion of jealousy shows up because it's the fraternity thing. Okay. Who's the father? She could be out philandering around. You don't know because unless you've got her chained in the basement.
Philandering and fornicating like those dang harlots.
Right. Okay, so you can be that guy who's jealous, insecure, and mate guarding, or you can get more realistic and go, well, if she's going to cheat, she's going to cheat, but there's always another woman. And then go out and find another one. Okay.
And that's new too, because it never used to be the case. Up until like 100 years ago, there wasn't enough women around. There's like tribes, cities of like 100 people.
Yeah, something like that.
Giant shit like that. But yeah, now we finally have the point where you got like chick on speed dial, like Logan's Run. Tinder is basically, you remember the Logan's Run machine? Do you guys, anybody remember this movie? It's like came out in 1967. Basil Exposition. Yeah, well, there was this one point where he had like a remote control and a little teleport machine. He kept hitting the button, and every time he hit it, like a chick would pop up. He's like, too fat. Not my style. Then a guy would show up with like wearing like drag and he's like, and then gets like the main female character on. It was literally Tinder with like Star Trek tech. And I was like, hey, we got it. We did it. Out of all the tech out of Logan's Run, we could have done killing 30-year-olds, like laser guns. No, let's get this sex on tap thing on the go. This goes to show our priorities, right?
Exactly.
Ooh, do you know anything about JWs?
Yeah, I do actually. I've had experience. I've had two different experiences. One was a guy I worked with. He was a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. But he wasn't preachy about it. He wasn't trying to convert anyone. In fact, he kind of reminded me of the LDS in the sense that he kind of had an air of moral superiority. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. We don't celebrate holidays. Because it was getting towards Christmas at that point. And I remember I was like, what are you doing for Christmas? This was when I found out he was a Jehovah's Witness. He's like, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. We don't celebrate Christmas. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, they don't celebrate any holidays.
no.
Something like it takes away from Jesus or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. The only other experience that I had years ago, and it worked because it happened twice. So I guess I've had 3 experiences, but I only count the one as one or the 2 as one because it was the same missionaries, I guess, or the same proselyters. They'd come to my door one day and knocked, and I was polite to them, and it was, they're like, have you heard about, the word of God and all this other stuff? And I'm like, hey, that's cool, but I'm just not interested, and they were fairly persistent, but I finally, got them to go away. Well, a couple of weeks later, they came back. And so then I was like, well, you sons of bitches. All right. Well, I got to try another tactic here. We're going to ramp it up a little bit. So they come to the door, knock. I open the door. Have you heard the word of God and blah, blah, blah. And I stand there and go, yeah, you guys, you have your God. I have my master. Satan. They immediately walked off the porch and I never saw him again.
Fair enough.
So that worked. I had to throw in the reference to, the adversary, but that got them to go away. But they were persistent. I'll say that, I'll give them that. And the ones, they're even more persistent than the Mormons. I thought the Mormon missionaries were pretty persistent, but I found the way around those guys. They're easy. They show up and, hey, have you heard about, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ? All you got to tell them is, yep, guys, you're talking to one of the fold. Just tell them. Oh,
right, because you're excommunicated or whatever, right?
Well, I'm not excommunicated. I just don't go.
Well, I don't know what the words, but isn't that what the fold means? Is like the church turned their back on you or something?
No. When you're one of the fold, you're in the church.
Oh.
Technically, I'm on the book still. I was, they have this book that your name's written in that because you're Mormon. Okay. They do, Santa has a list and he's checking it twice for sure, kids. All right. So my name is on this book, which to me is nonsense. And so I don't bother. If you want to be excommunicated, that's where your name gets taken off the books. And you are what is called an apostate at that point. And pretty much you're cast into outer darkness, which is the LDS version of hell. Basically, it's the absence of God.
So what you're trying to tell me is you're not really committed to your way of life right now. You just want to hedge. Because you're too lazy to do anything about it.
I just don't give a shit is what it comes down to. But why not? If anything, I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to Conk. I'll get a badge. I'll get a merit badge in all of them, just so I can be like, I'm pretty much an atheist, but on the off chance that I find out, I was wrong, somebody's going to have me covered and be like, you're good, dude. Come on in. You're fine.
Nice. I think a lot of guys mistake this, though. They think we're just sitting here being like the typical progressive American coastal liberal types. It's like, religion's so backwards. They should listen to Sam Harris. It's like, it's not it. No. Like, at least from my perspective, it's like, I just don't like somebody. If you're going to tell me what to do, at least make it in my best interest. And I find the church absolutely fails in that.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's never, and that's why they're not red-pilled.
Yeah.
Okay? Red pill to me is the idea that you take charge of your life. You do what works for you, what is in your best interest. I may totally disagree with you and be like, yeah, that ain't for me. And that's fine. But it's you living the life you want to live on your terms. And the church, that is not the church, any church that I've encountered. That is, obey God, bend the knee, kneel. And it's like, how's that in my best interest? Well, it's the afterlife.
Yeah, trust me, your prostate will thank you for it. It's like, I don't think it will.
No.
Dude, imagine having 4 wives and none of them will fuck you so much that you get like dick cancer or ball cancer.
And then they leave you and take all your kids too.
Just like a quadruple beta male,
11. Yeah. Just like that woman with 11 fucking kids. She took them.
Like incels, whatever. No woman will fuck me. That's like an abstract thing. But like the Mormon incel, he's like, these 4 women here won't fuck me. Like they know their names. It just seems like it hurts. It hurts that little bit more, It's personal.
Yep.
I'm surprised then. How come there hasn't been a dude renting a white van in Utah? But then again, I don't know. Do you even want to go down that road? Because I'll say this, and then 2 minutes later, somebody is shooting up a school, and these fucking guys in their podcast, like, fuck.
You know what, though? Part of it is because, again, it's the anti, It's anti-red pill as far as the Mormons go. The Mormons are actually, other than there might be 3 guys that are actually like, red pill, and they happen to be Mormon. All right. The rest of them, not only are they blue pilled, but they're docile. They're passive. The men are.
Well, they wouldn't even answer the door in your story earlier on.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. And that's typical. Okay, they're not out there on the porch with their beard and their shotgun and going, "Get off my land." They're not doing that shit. It's the women that are doing that shit. Okay, it's the guys are extremely passive. Jesus. Because that's what they've been raised. Because when you grow up in it, not only do you have God constantly testing you and judging you, saying you're not perfect, but you have your family repeating that to you. Your father is a beta, basically, because he's out running around doing everything to make, the happy wife, happy life situation. Mm-hmm. And it's mom who's raising the kids. And yeah, you're the patriarch until she says otherwise. Okay. So you got a pleasing dad who's very passive. You are told as a child, you need to be, you need to be subservient. And that's the men and the women. They're both taught that in the LDS church. You need to be subservient to God. You need to be subservient to your elders. You need to be subservient basically to everyone except you, and you don't even come into the equation. Okay. You're an afterthought. You really are. Jeez. And that's, I grew up with that. And that's where I see all these guys, not a lot of alpha chads in that group. They're not there.
I wouldn't even put it on the alpha beta spectrum. It's just like a dignity thing or like a self-determination. What's that, Marcus? Really, self-love. That's what they called it back in the Greek times, wasn't it?
That dude, no. The LDS religion with all of the, you're not perfect, you're a piece of shit. I'm making fun of Nick here, but but this is like weaponized piece of shit. Okay. Right. You're constantly guilted and shamed for not being perfect because Jesus is perfect, Heavenly Father is perfect, and they want you to be perfect, but you'll never be perfect. Okay,
unless you buy my facial cream, or my religion,
my alpha male conference, But it is one of those things that this is what they grow up in, and the guys get the life snuffed out of them, man. They're just passive, and so the idea of them doing what's his name, the Van guy or the Elliot,
the Enigminisan guy,
yeah, or like an Elliot Rodger thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I could see it happening. It wouldn't surprise me. Okay, but at the same time, the guys are usually so docile that it's like the will to do it is not there. It's that story
of helplessness.
Yeah, it is. It's that story of, the little baby elephant that's, chained up with, a big old thick chain and it can't break free. But as it grows and gets bigger, it loses the possibility. And so they can tie a little tiny rope to it and it never tries to break free.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. The guys, until they literally get like wiped out, and the wife takes the kids and all that, they question their faith. They run into an asshole like me who buys them a drink. But the funny thing is, I sit there and I think this is their moment. That they are being red-pilled because they're seeing reality. They're questioning it. They're going, what the fuck happened? The church, my family, everyone told me if I just followed these 12 steps, my life would be perfect. Okay? And now it's not. They go out, they drink, they whore around, they figure some things out. And I'm like, good for you. And then what do? They go right back to it.
Now I see why you've probably held on, like you've probably internalized let them burn more than anybody else I can think of. Maybe wine more, please. But I mean, top 2. Because it's like you're seeing it. And I think a lot of these, do you know how many guys, that's the other thing that's common in the chats. It's always like, even the married red pill, which is having a bit of a moment right now. Like a lot of the guys, there's a bit too many I can savor types in there now, and it's kind of shifting the message, which sucks. But a lot of guys are having posts like, well, if we just explain this a little bit better, then maybe guys will do their own best interests. And I'm just thinking, I imagine you trying to get these alpha male con guys to start looking out for their own best interest, and they'd probably fucking make you regret suggesting they do anything that helped them. They'd probably punish you for it.
Yep.
Probably throw you under the bus. Yep. Not even for a whiff, just for the idea that a whiff could happen eventually someday, maybe.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. It's it goes back to what I was just saying. I see these guys, they go out, they get fucking zeroed out. They come up for air and try to not drown or kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of get their shit together a little bit. And then they meet the next missus. You know, they meet the next woman and go right back to that blue pill shit because they grew up in it. I mean, it is like indoctrination. Okay. It is like what cults do. And
Mormon can't take credit for that. I remember when Illimitable Man got his online Korean girlfriend, and then all of a sudden it was all about fucking return.
Oh, yeah.
That lasted for 3 years. Then she fucking ranted to Tate about him, and then now it's back to like women ain't shit. And I was like, that's funny.
It is. But
we're like that rebound girl. She's not pretty. She's kind of a chubby, but she's always there to put out. She'll take your calls.
Yep.
Until something better comes along. For that, those guys, there's red pill.
But that is why I am let them burn, you know, because I've seen it over and over and over. The guys start to figure it out. They literally start to see the light. It's like, oh God, all right, he's gonna figure it out. Nope, gets right back into it. And I realize it's like in even this space, in my opinion, when you're dealing with someone who's grown up in a particular belief set, like a religious set, from the time you were an infant, undoing all of that brainwashing, and it's brainwashing.
Oh yeah.
Undoing that, you're not going to do that in a couple of TikTok videos. You're not going to do that at an alpha male conference.
Wait, my TikTok videos or anybody's TikTok? Because my TikTok videos are lit.
No, yours are off.
I hate those things. I hate them.
It's the idea that, you know, even Rollo's work, as good as it is not going to undo, you know, 30 years of brainwashing. It's like, no, you're going to need like professional fucking therapy to get out.
Oh, that's not going to help you. Oh. That's the same problem.
In most cases, you're absolutely right. But
keep talking to him. Keep talking. Here's some drugs. How different is that than Karen on the porch saying, sit down and earn more money to pay for this house?
Yeah, you're not wrong there. What I meant more was you would need to deal with one of these cult deprogrammers where they like yank you out of the cult and strap you down in a room, and it's like an intervention type of thing.
Oh, like that. What was that movie with the Wednesday Addams chick and Christina Ricci?
Yeah.
Snake Moon, where he tied her. Yeah, he basically chained her to stop her whoring ways.
Black Snake Moan.
That's the one. Yeah. Maybe that's the new convention. Black Snake Moan convention.
Yep. Well, and that's
chain a bunch of dudes to a dungeon.
Yeah, you literally, and then you're just kind of throwing reality or whatever at them nonstop for like months on end. You would literally have to do that to change that ingrained mindset that you grew up with. You know,
imagine the kind of person that'd be willing to do that, though.
You'd be.
I don't have the fortitude for it. Yeah, a sadist.
You'd be kind of a sadist. Your morality in a lot of ways would be questionable if you're like, I'll take that on, because you're kind of programming them.
Like, how much money? This is one of those conversations. Like, how would you suck a dick for $1 million? Hey, would you guys unbetify dudes for $1 million? And I wouldn't. I'm like, no. I stopped taking consults because I used to talk with like Paul and the other guys that do it too. And if you get those days, I don't know if you ever done consults with guys on the phone.
I've done a couple. And
okay, let me ask you a question then. Do you have this moment? Let's say you have 3 calls in a day or more. Okay. Do you ever have that moment when you're done for the day that you just sit there and stare at the wall quietly for like an hour to unwind and humanize again? Yeah.
Why do you think I drink?
I don't think guys realize this when they're talking about helping men and we'll take your calls and the consults and that. It's fucking tiring. It's not even that it's tiring. It's like it breaks your brain.
Exhausting. It does. It breaks your brain. It kind of breaks your spirit a little bit. You know, is what it does.
That's a good way of putting it. I don't know how shrinks do it. I really don't.
I don't either. That's why I never went into it. I was like, yeah, I can't be bothered. You know, because hearing all that, you know, all the bullshit, all the problems, all the whatevers, all the excuses, the victimizing, all that shit. Hearing
the delusion.
Yep. All that shit day in and day out. I couldn't do it, man. It's just because there was a book I read, and you might know the author, Ryan. Guy by the name of Robert Ringer. Okay. Wrote 3 or 4 books back in like the 70s and early 80s. One of them was called Winning Through Intimidation. One was called Looking Out for Number One. That's the name of the book, is Looking Out.
Look at this, 70s Tucker Max.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, but he totally is like this, like he looks like an insurance salesman. Okay.
I can imagine. I bet you he does.
He does.
Robert Ringer, eh?
Yeah, Robert Ringer. Okay. And I have these books, and it's funny when I hear guys, talking about all these things, they're phrasing it differently, but they're talking about the same shit Robert Ringer was talking about back in like the 70s and the early 80s. Okay.
Yes.
And one of the things he brought up, and it was in the book, Looking Out for Number One, he brought up basically like, don't deal with crazy people, because you're going to try and change them, but what's going to happen is they're going to change you. Okay, that's the whole 1 + 1 = 3 argument. Okay, you going at them, going, no, 1 and 1 is 2. They're going to keep coming back at you, going, no, 1 and 1 is 3. And because they have their conviction, because of their delusion or whatever it is, their disorder, their belief. This goes with like the religious people too, the zealots, the real hardcore of the hardcore. You can't negotiate with them because they're beyond negotiation. It's almost like narcissism. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you expose yourself to that over and over, you're the one that gets tainted by it. You're the one that starts to question your sanity after a while versus them, where they're like, I'm not crazy. I know that the sky is green. I know that 1 and 1 = 3. And he wrote about it way back. And I'm just like, because that one stuck with me. And that's why when I hear delusional dudes and they kind of have that religious fervor, they're really behind their cause or whatever it is that they believe in, that I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going there, because I know, one, I'm not going to change their mind. They're just going to double down. They're going to dig in. And if anything, they're just going to rub their crazy off on me. And I don't need that shit.
Yeah. No, I got that impression too. It's weird. The part that got me was after a while, you understand why they're calling. Like at first you would assume it's, they're calling because they have a problem and they want to fix it. And I always approached it like that. I told them it was like that. But then I realized some guys want permission to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And I used to jokingly say, you have now the married red pill certificate of do whatever you want and learn it the hard way.
Yep.
Like my favorite one that it stuck to me to this day is this guy was talking about, I know you're going to say exactly what you're going to say. He repeated there's no such thing as one-itis, single moms, 10s are never 10s. And he's like, repeated exactly what I was going to say. And he goes, but, in other words, ignore everything you just said that I understand what you're going to do and what we're here for. This girl is great. And he talked about her as a 10. I'm like, well, describe her to me. She was like 25, single mom, 2 kids, a bunch of tattoos, living on welfare. Like, I was like, I thought he was fucking with me at first.
And yet he wasn't.
No, and he wasn't. And then but that was one of my last calls I ever took. And I kind of mentioned it's like, look, I don't know what you want, but you don't want this. Like, I'll give you your money back if you want to, because you already know exactly what I'm going to say. You know what you're supposed to do, and you're not going to do any of it. So like, why are we even here? And the guy didn't have an answer for me.
Yep.
And that's when I realized most of these guys, and that's, I bet you another thing too, a lot of guys that you would take calls from probably called me first, Donnie, then Rolo and Rich, and pay everybody's fees. And they just kept walking around looking for somebody to tell them what they wanted to hear. And it was the funniest thing because we used to tell each other all the time. He's like, did you get this guy? He's like, yeah, I got that guy. What did he want? He wanted this. We're like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's why I hate my audience just a little bit.
I'm with you.
No, except for you guys in the chat. You're good. Everybody else, though.
Yeah, y'all suck. Well, it's funny because that's where I know Nick and I have talked about this before, too. That with the whole, League of Distinguished Assholes and the Illuminati Order and all of these other online clubs, that it's like, okay, these accountability clubs, these cuddle clubs, all they are, it is testicular cancer. It's guys. I mean, how bad is it that you need to pay another man to hold you fucking accountable for your life?
And it's a fiction. there's no accountability anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the premise. That's the surface levels. I'm going to have this other guy hold me accountable. He's going to be my motivation coach. He's going to be my gym instructor telling me, do another curl. Come on, you got this. Only he's not there in real life. Okay. And so he can't hold you accountable. And so all it is it's a cuddle club. It's a social
confession.
Club. It is. Thank you. It's fucking confession.
It's been 3 weeks since my last beta mail. I promised I wasn't going to yell at my wife, and I yelled at my wife. Please forgive me, sir. All right, do 3 penance, send me $5 on my Patreon, and that, yeah, dude.
That's all.
I've kicked guys out of my Patreon for that.
That's all it is. And I've said it in the past, even in a couple of videos. It's back slaps and high fives. That's what it is.
Which is too bad, because if that's all it was just a bunch of guys hanging out and enjoying themselves, I'd be all for all these clubs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's always that like underlying insecurity. It's like Oprah's book clubs. Like, you're not reading books. You're just staining your teeth gray. If you guys don't get that reference, ask a girl in her 30s what that means.
Oh, God.
Full of all kinds of like random shit. It's like, what is that? It's from the red wine, guys. It stains your teeth to be a gray. So if you ever see a date with a girl and she's got gray teeth, just know what you're in for. She's very sad and she'll put out on the first date, but if you don't try to wife her up, she'll get very, very sad.
Very, very sad.
Very sad. And I mean, whatever, bitches ain't shit, so just do what you do, right? It's not your job to fix them. That was the Whisper. Oh, fuck, what was Whisper's line? He had this great line. It was some random, like every now and then I'll have like all the red-pilled guys from the old Reddit on my friends list so I can see what they are up to. And there was some purple pill debate thread about how men dating in their 40s is ruining it for everybody. And it's typical purple pill debate. Any chick who just gets dumped has to do a rant about how all men are like that asshole that just dumped her. So she was most likely a 40-year-old chick who couldn't date a 40-year-old guy because they're going after 20-year-olds. So she's like, men are ruining it for everybody. And he was like, well, who's everybody? No, children are ruined. The women are ruined. He goes, okay, so basically everything is ruined for everybody except for men. So like, and it was something like, I don't owe you. I'm not here to save you, and I don't owe you anything. And I loved it. Because like even when chicks were complaining about the sexual marketplace and how it could be fixed, like men weren't involved in like the solution. They were just the workhorses to implement it.
Yeah, they're never involved. That's the thing. They're never involved. And that's the religions are no different. Okay. It's all surface level. But when it comes down to it, I mean, yeah, if you're the patriarch, as far as you're the bishop or whatever like that, yeah, you've got a bit of power. Not going to argue that, especially if you claim that Heavenly Father is talking to you directly, then, well, of course, you're the voice of God. All right. Well, that's kind of how this works. But the rest of the guys really don't have a say. You're the workhorse. That's your job, is to shoulder the load. And that's it.
That's good. Aw, damn it. All right, Brett, you're officially exempt from the hate your audience thing. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I got actionable value from you with call a few years ago. Helped me establish a new frame. I'll say this. Actually, I'll say this too. This is going to suck because from a marketing perspective, I'm supposed to play this up and then pitch the Patreon, but I'm going to do a different thing here, and I think you might like it, Rob. I didn't do shit. You did it. All the work, all the mental shifts, all of it. I didn't do anything. You did everything. At best, anybody on this side, the screen side of this shit, can take credit for is providing you some tools. But if anything, that just means I'm a Sears sales associate selling Craftsman tools, not that Chinese crap. And I think a lot of guys, dude, there was this weird trend. It was about 5 years ago where everybody kept coming into like the Married Red Pill, and they were posting their whole thank you posts. Total backslaps, right? And I remember One More Please was just starting to go on a ban spree. He's like, we didn't do shit for you, you idiot. Why aren't you taking credit for any of the work you did, any of the model shifts you did, any of that? And guys would always lash out because it was like a big covert contract where, and I'm not saying you, Brett, I mean everybody else. Where, yeah, it's like, you did it, guys, you did it. It's like, no, we didn't do it. You did it. And like, you can't tell me you have a mental point of origin and not even take credit for anything you did on your own, you know?
Yeah. Own it. Just like we tell you to own your shit. Own your wins too. You did it. We did.
Yeah, you're supposed to go through a 12-month period where you're a cocky asshole and nobody can tell you shit because you fucking earned it. And then you'll calm the fuck down and turn into a normie again. But like, fuck, man. Like, Do you think me sitting here laughing at some stupid TikTok is changing lives? Like, I've come to terms with this is entertainment, and I'll slip in some information if you want it, but it's not. I'm not expecting anything. I don't know what you're expecting. Probably the same.
Oh, dude, it is let them eat cake. It's the gladiator line of "Are you not entertained?" You know,
Yeah.
that's all it's come to.
Fucking Marty. Oh, where'd it go? I love the hate. To be fair, Marty is always going to be on my shit list. This fucking guy, the most somber, serious moments, and he comes in some random fucking bullshit. I'm like, damn it, Marty. This is why your family disowned you, god damn it. And then Juan, thanks, Coach Ryan, the heavyweight who saved me. Yeah, these fucking dicks. They go into every video now. They go into the Chick Talks. Don't ever tell the internet anything you don't like because they'll drive a truck through that shit. I was just like, I mentioned like a couple years ago, don't call me coach. I'm not a coach for the same thing we just talked about. Now everybody calls me fucking coach everywhere. Coach and couch.
Well, you know, to be honest, Ryan, your stuff saved my life. So
that's the other thing. Now it's just some TikTok video where I'm laughing at married chicks who hate their husbands. They're like, hey, this video saved my life. Thanks, man. And Jack Napier is the one usually in there like a minute. He's not even finished watching the video. And he's commenting this shit. It's a 10-minute video. You posted that 3 minutes after it started. Come on.
Gotta give you some shit, man. We found your Achilles heel and you gave it up. You outed yourself.
Damn straight. Dude, that's my favorite thing. And okay, I promised you I wasn't going to mention them, but fuck it. That's my favorite thing about that stupid, like, nothing Tate beef when somebody gave him that super chat, which I still haven't watched it. So I have no idea what it's about. I just kind of took a guess, and for some reason I've nailed it. It's like, if you're supposed to be the king of all kings, the alpha male of all alpha male, and I ain't shit. I'm just a Canadian dude who lives in Toronto. Like, as far as the over 9,000 power levels go, I'm like at 3620. It's like, there's no way I should be getting an emotional reaction out of anybody other than I got a good sense of humor and teeth and freckles, apparently.
Well, yeah.
Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. For all these alpha males out there, they sure got some thin fucking skin, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. For being the serious, stable stoics that they claim they are. Really?
I'm stoic, but that guy's a fucking dick.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, who else has that kind of emotional reaction? Chicks on TikTok.
Oh God, yeah, dude. It's like the weirdest thing. Like, I'm glad my girl's on there. I'm on there now, and I hate to say it, but like, I'm here for business surfing TikTok. It's like, I read Playboy for the articles. Like, come on.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's like, it's boring though, because I've realized like there's some great content out there. Like, I've seen a lot of your like talkies used to do. I remember some of your old ones. You accidentally had some good comedic timing in your edits and that, which we kind of joked about. Dude, but like, you watch TikTok and it's all.
I'm gonna grab another cup of coffee real quick.
No worries. It's just a rant to the audience anyway. So do what you do. Oh yeah, I'll single the thing here. One sec. Grumble. Yeah, and I watch these, and it's weird because every single TikTok that my girl sends me, the women ain't shit ones, or women doing stupid things, there's like an article from Rolo on it, or Ian Ironwood, or something, and it's like, oh, I could do a video on this one. I could do a video on this one. But the more I do it, the more I realize, like, yeah, all this stuff kind of fits the red pill thing, but all these people are boring. Like, they're not even interesting. That's why that's so rare that I'll come out with. Remember I've done 3 red pill coffees with like full people. There was the radio chick that put her dude on blast only because she's got crazy eyes. There was the one that looked like she was loaded on Ambien. And there was the Canadian chick who's like smashing her phone, who's kind of playing it up because she wants people on her OnlyFans. But that's like it. Those 3 people gave me enough interest to have like a proper video on. And the rest, it's just boring ass people doing the exact same hypergamous stuff that Rolo talks about every week on Fresh and Fit and ABBA and Preach and, I don't know, Ren and Stimpy. I don't fucking know. And the whole time, I'm just like, why can't people be interesting, at least in their misery? At least say what you will about, like, George Sedini and Elliot Rodger and fucking McClay. At least when they hit rock bottom, there was some fucking interesting shit to come out of that. Granted, horrible, tragic Columbine level violence, but at least that's a conversation you can have over the water cooler, right? And I think that's what gets me more. It's not that women ain't shit or hoes and tricks and all this stuff. It's that they're just boring people. This is coming from a guy who's like sitting here in a condo in his den ranting about women when it's like negative 26 out there, which if you guys don't know, negative 32 is the same in Celsius and Fahrenheit, so do the math. And thank you here. Hot dogs and what's that? Hat and Clogs, 43.34. $10 super chat for the doggos. Absolutely. We got them on that raw food diet like those fancy dink couples, so they always have to buy way too much of that shit. Everybody is stoic until it's time to do stoic stuff. Yeah, Juan, you got that one too. That one makes me laugh. Like, it's very easy to be stoic when nobody's saying shit about you. Try being stoic while somebody's like mocking your family online for clout or yelling at you on a live stream, which I still laugh. I've still never watched it. Like, the fact that I don't even have to watch stuff anymore and I can tell you exactly how it played, and that's it. Theodore is asking how the trucker protest in Ottawa is going. Oh, that's right. I've been getting some updates here, left, right, and center from my girl and the other sources. So Ottawa, there's this rumor, and I'm trying to figure it out if it's true or not. I don't know. Somebody was saying that the company that delivers...
Live update, tractor trailers have joined in.
Oh, the tractors are joining in too.
Quebec is blocking the bridge so the eastern convoy can't get in.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, Ottawa, there's a couple bridges into town, and they've closed off all the bridges but one, and then they cut the traffic in half. But I just heard that that's coming back online. So they're trying all kinds of weird shit to keep them from coming to the capital. But I guess they're finally making it there right now. And so Quebec is pulling some shit, and Ontario's pulling some shit. But it's funny, tractors are joining in. I wonder if they're going to be like the French ones. Like, did you guys see the French protest where they just started dumping cow shit onto Parliament and that? Don't make fun of Ren and Stimpy. They've been found holy. Oh, good. He's back. There we go.
I'm back.
Yeah, they tried. They finally reopened the bridge into Ottawa. They closed it off so the truckers couldn't get in, but now they finally reopened it.
Because this will stop the protest.
It's like, yeah, but that's the one thing I'm trying to find out. So there was these trucks that deliver gas to all the gas stations, right? In Ontario, and it's supposedly, and I don't know if this is true, but Trudeau has pulled some shenanigans in the back thing where they're not delivering, and so there's supposed to be a gas shortage. I don't know if it's Ontario-wide or Canada-wide or what. And it was like a conspiracy theory 3 days ago. But then yesterday, CTV News just put out a thing saying they're expecting today to have the highest gas prices in like Ontario history. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I get the Alex Jones guys who are like, probably not, but like I can't get mad at guys for speculating on this one.
Oh, no, nothing wrong with speculation. You brought up a good point with the Alex Jones and all of that too. Where I've been listening to this podcast where it's, like I said, these couple of women who are talking about different cults. They're bringing on people who've been in the cults, that type of thing. Yeah. I see a lot of that type of behavior, if you will, inside, like on Twitter. You see it on YouTube too. You have your guru, your guy, who has the answer, and it's, drink black coffee or take cold showers or retain your semen or don't touch your penis or whatever it is. And you even brought it up a while ago. We're talking like probably 2 years ago with the whole narcissism, basically,
Oh, yeah.
And that's, and the more I delve into cult psychology, if you will, or how cults kind of operate, it's the same thing minus the isolation in the sense of physical isolation that a lot of cults will do, where they get you to move out of your house, sell all your shit, and then move in with them type of thing. But with COVID, with the lockdowns, where this has been a worldwide phenomenon, okay? And people, a lot of times they're working from home or they lost their job because their business went under, whatever, okay? Here we are on the internet in our houses. You're in your home. I'm in my home. Everyone on the chat, unless they're watching on their phone at their job or something, they're in their own space. Okay.
Yeah.
And people wonder, why things are so divided. And you can get into the politics, but politics in a lot of ways is a cult unto itself. QAnon and all that, it's the same bullshit. Okay? Right. Even Trump, there's cult behind him in a lot of ways. I know,
That's
right?
sacrilege. You can't mention that in the sphere.
Whoa.
You'll lose all your cred.
There you go. See, but because the fact that I can question it and I would lose my cred says it's a fucking cult. But that's it. We have cult of alpha male, cult of whatever it is, whatever, cult of the president of the manosphere. And if you say anything otherwise, he'll sue you. Okay. It's the same idea. You're dealing with cult phenomenon in a lot of ways that when you start seeing it, you can't unsee it.
Cult light, half the calories, all the taste.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Instead of Miller Lite masculinity, it's cult like masculinity. Okay? It really is because, how dare you question my Lambo yacht guy? How dare you make a rude, disparaging remark about him? You ain't shit, motherfucker. And I have your address to prove it. It's that kind of thing. And it's like, guys, if your guru, if your guy is telling you he has the way and there is no room for any other way.
Cult 45.
Yeah, no shit. No shit, Baron.
I'm stealing that, Baron. Cult 45. Get some of the Billy D. Williams voices in there. Get that low ASMR. Got to get yourself a nice Cult 45.
Get yourself a nice Cult 45.
Yeah, dude. The whole thing. Like, I honestly, this is why I love like Jordan Peterson and all these guys. Not for like any of their messages in particular. I find those kind of like trite and uninspiring.
Yeah.
The meta. Like Jordan actually tried to help people. He thought, I'm good at this.
Burned for
He
it.
got burned. Yeah. They built him up just so they could scapegoat him later. Got to the point that he tried so hard and all the stress was so big and he thought he was making a difference, put him on benzos, almost killed him. And then what happened? His daughter's like, well, he's rung through, can't get any more blood out of this, time to make my clout off of it. And everybody now that loved him is now it's good to hate him. And it's just realizing like, I think he's coming to terms with like the kayfabe, like the fiction of it. There may have been some people that were helped for sure, but most people just wanted it for like entertainment to stick it to the libs. They only liked him because he got mad at the trans people. And I don't like the trans people because Biden or Trump and tribal and whatever.
Exactly.
But I mean, and I didn't mean to make it sound disjointed like that because it's a disjointed thing. It's literally pointing at somebody and then making a quick decision. I like them, red hat. I like them, pussy hat.
Yeah.
And then he'll say some random dumb shit like about, global warming. Like, yeah, fuck global warming because red hat guy said it. And then pussy hat's like, yeah, fuck men. And you're like, yeah, lesbians, let's do it. Everybody's confused. Nobody knows.
Well,
it's almost like the exact opposite of mental point of origin.
Oh, dude, it is the exact opposite. Okay. Because in all of those messages, all that radio static, all that white noise chatter that's going on, all the pulpit pounding and the soapboxing, where is the real message that I always ask myself for me is what's in this for me? What am I getting out of this?
Well, we can't talk about that.
Well, it goes back to even where you did it the other day, where one of the guys said, what are we going to do about this? And you're like, who's we? Yeah, and I had to jump on that one too, because I'm like, yeah, exactly. I don't know you, motherfucker. Just because we both have XY chromosomes doesn't make me your bro.
I always love too. Whenever I hear somebody say we, I always hear it's you. Yep. It's always you. We need to do something. No, you need to do something about this. Like, okay, yeah, I'll get right on that, sir.
Exactly.
Here's another reason why nobody who says they're red pill is actually red pill. This isn't new shit. I didn't come up with this either. I'm not that smart. It was actually an old Whisper post. It's that, what was it? You don't need a wife, just a blowjob. And Jordan Peterson is not your friend. Greatest post ever. Because they're like perfect in that they bait you. Like Jordan Peterson's not your friend. People get mad. They're like, he is my friend. What the fuck? But it turns out it's just like, yeah, the TradCon lie. They'll try to sell you like you need to save the world for us. And it's never for us. It's like we need you to do all the hard work to save the world for our kids. Because they don't want to do it. They fucked it up.
Yep.
And then you're thinking, yeah, it's some fight against feminism. But, the boomers lost that fight without even a struggle. It was like a slaughter. So what makes you think you're going to do any better? You're not even saving the world for yourself. It's a utopia that doesn't exist. And it's like you can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's like a technological thing.
Yep.
I don't want to rant about that, but it was like a great argument it makes where it's basically everybody is asking you to sacrifice yourself for something that's not going to happen. You won't learn to enjoy it, and it's not even for you. So it's like, yeah, screw you. I don't owe you anything. And I think a lot of guys need to get there. And that sounds nihilistic, doesn't it? But it's not. I don't think it is. Does it sound nihilistic to you when I rant like that on it?
No, doesn't sound nihilistic to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds like freeing to me. It's like,
That's how I look at it. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's when you realize you can't save the West, you can't save the world. And why would you even want to ultimately? I mean, yeah, I get it. If you have kids, hey, I want it to be better for my children. Well, then you focus on your kids and your own little world inside the bigger world, and you make that as great as you can for your kids, and then hope for the best, because they might shit it all away anyway.
Well, that's the problem. It's easier to recruit random people in your quest to save your kids from adult pleasures, right?
Right. Where I'm just like, what's in this for me? How is me doing the heavy lifting for your children benefiting me? Because it's not. I've got that book, Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism. It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah, it is.
I'll have to add that to the list along with like Be Your Best Asshole from Skinny Telly Savalas there. Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism. Well, so much for my whole idea about book reviews for the Red Pill, because I'm not going to be able to get through shit. This is the problem with asking people online about what books to read, because then you get so many books, you just never read any of them. The Walter PPK restaurant plan superior to the Colt 45. An Austrian painter swears. Oh, Jesus Christ. That time when you're halfway through a sentence and you realize, oh, we're going down this road.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Swing Heil.
Yeah. Whatever. I find this shit funny. I think that's the most positive message that I can give. At least the one for me is that, what was it? I used to say this years ago, where it's like everybody's trying to be the top 20%. A lot of guys are like complaining. It's like 20%. You have to be the best guy ever just to get anywhere. It's like, well, look at it this way. Like, just try for it, because everybody will just get out of your way. They're not even going to try and stop you. If anything, they'll like help you accidentally. Some dude beta male simping for your wife or simping for the girl you're into or your wife or whatever, and she gets all that validation, then you just get to smash. It's like, dude, thanks, man.
Yep. I've had that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the case. It's one of those things where my dad said to me at one point, and it's funny because I think a stand-up comedian literally must have heard my dad, because my dad, when I was little, my dad said to me, he goes, son, laugh and the world laughs with you, but if you're going to cry, I'll give you something to cry for, you little son of a bitch. And it's true in a lot of ways, because nobody gives a shit about your struggles, and you're not even a thought. You're grist for the mill. You do the heavy lifting. Like you said, you do it type of thing. So you might as well laugh and enjoy your life, guys, because you're not going to defeat feminism. You're not going to save the West, because the West doesn't even want to be saved. So fuck it. Enjoy your life. Do what you want to do.
Oh, shit. Somebody just sent me some new beef here while we're on this one.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Himbo himself, Cortez, is going after Talib.
Oh, Jesus.
Save lives, boycott Spotify. Oh, geez, I didn't know Talib's not a Joe Rogan fan. Did Joe ever have him on the podcast?
I have no idea.
He's probably like a Sam Harris fan or some shit like that. So Cortez calls him a loser of the lowest order, and then Talib's like, hey, at least I'm not buddies with a sociopath murderer, you fuck. That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
I got to retweet this. This is worth it. That's the only thing I'm going to put worth. See you again. And the worst part is, in 5 minutes, everybody will have forgotten about this, and Cortez will have another photo of him dressed up as like Sagat from Street Fighter on some kickboxing course. What can you do but laugh, man? The fact that a full-on Talib's like, he's like the intellectual, but like, who's his market? Is he like Joe Rogan fans or Sam Harris fans love Talib? Who rants about him the most?
I have no idea.
Because it's always some club. I'm noticing that's the world. This world is either a Sam Harris fan or a Joe Rogan fan. I don't know why, but that's just the way it works. I'll put him in the Rogan camp, because Cortez looks like one of them Sam Harris types. Because I know he doesn't read books, so he must have to listen. Actually, I shouldn't really chuck shit. I actually don't have a problem with Cortez. Like, he's a bit of a goof, but like, personally, never had an issue. Although he sure does talk a lot of mad shit on Twitter, and he hates me, at least on Twitter. But I mean, he's over 6 foot, so what does it fucking matter at this point, right?
Well, he's Twitter beef guy. That's how he remains relevant. If it's not tomahawk steak pictures, it's beefs with the next guy. That's what
Oh man, dude, that I forgot all about that when he used to post like steak dinners at the keg.
Yeah.
Like, boys, I've made it.
Yeah.
I'm officially like a boomer on an anniversary dinner.
Yeah.
I've made it.
Exactly.
And it reminds me of like spinners on your rims. Yeah, I'm sure you have spinners in there. Yeah, because if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's like new money and old money. Now, my family on the ranch, fairly well off, new money. And the problem with new money is you don't think like people who have had money. So you always have to buy designer shit. You always got to have fancy logos and that, not realizing that people who have had money for a while, there's a whole new set of like social signals you got to kind of adapt to. So when you put like spinners on your rims, that looks like what poor people think rich people do. Meanwhile, rich people's like, I don't drive a car. Somebody drives me around. I don't care what they drive.
Yeah.
They'll think you need to rent a limo. It's like, have you seen a limbo outside of like WWF promos since like the 80s? I haven't.
Besides high school prom type shit where the beta, spends a fortune to hopefully bang the chick later and he rents the limo. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Yeah. Uh-oh. I heard a rumor. Somebody in the chat I got to look up here too. Let me see here. I'm afraid. You got to spoil it for me. Is it Georgie in the chat? Is it Georgie here? Or is it fake Rolo?
No. First
Oh,
one.
man. God damn. The scrolling is slowly catching up. It's getting there. All right, I can't find it.
8:55 a.m.
Fuck, my scrolling thing is just fucked up right now. It won't stop scrolling. Oh, there it is. Georgie, it's good to see you, man. How goes the lawsuit? I hope things go well. I got no hate for the guy. Like, I don't trust him anymore. This is me talking as Scott to Bruno, man to man. But a fan's a fan. Can't complain about this one. Good for you, sir. It's fake.
Yeah, probably. Dante would know. The panda knows all.
I guess we're winding this thing down. Rolo's doing Rule 0 today, or he might be taking it off. I don't even know anymore. So what do you got new? Like, I know for you it's still a hobby, so you don't do shit. This is just like whatever you're fucking around. But dude, pitch some stuff. I would love it if like you and Jack and Nick become like the de facto like presidents of the sphere. That'd be fucking awesome.
We're the presidents that didn't want to be.
Yeah. Winning by default, the two greatest words in the English language. Default.
No shit. No, I do have some things as far, obviously the live stream stuff. That's because it's easy and it's fun. I enjoy doing these type of things. The pre-produced videos, I know I'm going to get back into them again, but for now, it's just like, man, I have respect for you where you do a ton of them all the time. But I'm just like, man, it's because we've talked about it over and over. It's fucking work. And I'm like, maybe if I was more like you and doing this, professionally, I guess, making some revenue off it, I might be a little more invested, but I can't. And so the videos are on hold. I do have some audio stuff coming up, but it's mostly like live stream stuff where I've cleaned up the audio and whatnot, because I do enjoy doing that still.
Yeah,
so I've
it's
got
fun.
that, and I've got some blog post stuff that'll be coming up because I have some shit to say about some shit. So
you know what's funny? You're like one of the few blogs I still read. Other than that, I just go back to like old Last Psychiatrist articles and the occasional Royce thing.
Did you know?
The porn book? Yeah, I've heard about it. It's on my list.
Well, yeah, there's that one, and there was another one that I want to say that he wrote as well. That there's two of them. And one was more specifically because he's going by that Edward Teach or whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually Edward Thatch, I found out, is the actual pronunciation. It's not Teach. But where he's going off of the Blackbeard kind of, pen name, he wrote two books. There's the porn one, and then there was another one, something about a goose or something like that. But it was more very niche, that it was very about a very particular philosopher or something. That's what I seem to recall when I looked up the kind of the synopsis.
Interesting. Yeah, I just like how he puts a sentence together. I love his writing style.
Yep.
He and Delicious Tacos. I don't know what it is about the two of those guys. I just like how they string it together. I can't explain it. I guess it's that what they call like the reading voice.
Yeah, I think you'd probably be right about that. Yeah.
Which sucks now because now I look at my book like a piece of shit and I start reading these guys' ones. I'm like, can't I just rip off them like any normal author would?
See, but I like your book, you know. You have some you have stuff, dude, because I've read it, and there's, you know, a lot of stuff I already kind of knew that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, but you know,
I fucking hope you've already known it. Jesus, man.
Shit, you know, that it's like, but there was the biggest takeaways for me, besides the sense of humor, where you're just kind of like, ah, fuck it, whatever, because that's in there, and if guys don't understand that, then they're gonna have a hard time with your book and be like, what the hell is he talking about? What, you know, they're gonna get pissed off because they're gonna be all serious about it, and it's like, nah, dude, he's fucking with you on a certain level here. Everything in here is fucking with you.
Yeah.
But it was the whole when you decided to get into game because it was better than using your hand type of thing that I'm like, that and
beats jerking off in your living room.
Yep. And the whole don't care got laid, you know, it's, I don't care got laid, that it's like, oh man, that's the mentality these guys need to have. If you know, and that sets you free, that it's like, she's a 10 if she's sucking my dick. You know?
Well, I mean, but I'd same as anybody. I learned that one the hard way because I used to do that. I already know I'm doing basically reading the chapter. Remember that because Mike used to pick up twice as much as I did, and I always kept making up some stupid excuses why I was better, like the sex was more meaningful, and I didn't have like blowouts or bad situations.
You only
it's fine. I won the popular vote.
Yeah, you only bang 9s and 10s, right?
Yeah,
exactly,
dude. Left so much on the table just by acting that way, and as soon as I realized like to stop doing that. Having said that, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm really glad that like most people that talk about it haven't actually read it because that's some embarrassing shit in there.
Yeah, I don't think that it is. You know, it's part of your history. It's part of how you got to where you're at now.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't expect Talib to start shitting on me on Twitter because of it anytime soon.
Cortez might though.
Dude, I'm actually glad he had me blocked. I didn't realize he's still doing nothing but talking the dumbest shit.
Yeah, there's nothing missing there.
And it's not, and this isn't a position of hate. Like, there's no hate. He's at 113,000 Twitter followers, which, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like, you just kind of pointed out 113,000 dipshits to me. Or maybe a lot of them are just following it for the laughs. Like, they like watching it the same way you like watching Jerry Springer. You're not actually a fan of fucking your sister, but Jerry will show it to you and you'll enjoy it.
Yep.
But that's the other thing. I don't think I could enjoy that. Imagine being a brand like a lol cow, and then the only reason you exist is so somebody has somebody to point and laugh at, like a jester, but you have to pretend like you aren't aware of that, or maybe you're not aware of that. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
You lost me.
Okay. A lol cow is a leet speak thing. I think it came from 4chan. It's basically somebody who plays the clown, but they aren't aware they're the clown.
Oh God! So they don't know that they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know that they don't know, and that's the adds to it part 2. And it's like low-key bullying is what it feels like when people follow those kind of guys. And for a lot of these idiots that are like super popular, I kind of figured out like that's basically it.
They're the lol cow.
They're the lol cow.
Okay. Oh, well, you know, that wouldn't surprise me about Cortez. I could see that. Because at least before he blocked me, because he went after me at some point too, because I had to point out that the emperor had no clothes type of thing, and he wasn't having none of that shit. Okay. So I have that, you know, that merit badge that I too have been blocked by the Isle of Cortez. I'm good, you know. But that was the thing, you know. I'm looking at it going, wow, dude, you are so incredibly unaware. You know, you know, this has to be, you know, either you're pulling the greatest like laugh gag in Twitter history, or you're really that unaware. Yeah. And I've just come to the conclusion that the majority of guys, I'm sure there's going to be 5 dudes out there that they're the puppet masters. They're the lizard guy, you know, that they're not even human and they pretend to be. But everyone else, however they act on Twitter, that's how they are in real life too. You know, if they're a spurg on Twitter, they're a spurg in real life.
I've slowly come to terms with that. It's like, I don't think there is any like good kayfabes. I'd say you're probably right that the Tates most likely are self-aware about this shit. Like they're self-aware alpha lol cow or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
I don't get that impression from Cortez.
No.
I don't get that impression. Actually, I don't get that impression from anybody. I'm pretty sure Red Hat McGee really believes in whatever bullshit he's peddling.
Oh yeah, dude. It goes back to when I used to read tarot cards. There's two types of psychics. Okay.
Yeah.
There's what is called the eyes shut or eyes closed psychic, and then the eyes open psychic. Okay.
Yeah.
The eyes closed psychics are the true believers. They buy their own bullshit. They believe they have ESP and crystals and chakras and astrology and all that shit's for real.
Okay.
And then there's the eyes open psychic, which knows it's all bullshit and it's just psychology and it's basically sometimes, depending on what you're doing, it's sleight of hand. It's mentalism and magic tricks.
Yeah, parlor tricks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I guess that's the problem with the drug dealers who get high on their own supply, right?
Yep. That's it. Sniffing
Anyways,
their own shit.
Poor bastards. All right, I guess we'll leave it at this. I'm going to end it, and then we'll chat for a minute, and then I'm